I just have one thing to say. All right. Okay. I'm wacky. I'm Joe Biden. I don't know where the fuck I am. I think I'm a DJ at El Torito Mexican restaurant. What the actual fuck? Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, use the internet. Joe Biden was at a, apparently like some kind of Latino press conference, Hispanic Heritage Week or month or whatever the fuck it is. There's so many weird shits going on. National Hug Day, National Hug a Poodle Day, National Hug a Donut with your taste buds day. But he decided that he was going to walk on stage to get the Latino vote and that he was just going to play Despacito. He was like, yeah, these wetbacks, they love that shit. They love that shit. Yeah, those water Mexicans from Puerto Rico, throw that Despacito on them. That Daddy Yankee, he probably says Daddy Yankee. Daddy Yankee, rompe, rompe, rompe. Somos de calle, fellas. Hey, amigos. That's who Joe Biden actually reminds me of. And listen, I don't dislike Joe Biden. I actually think what's happening to him is very sad. I like him a lot. I thought he was a good person. If I agree with his politics or not, I just think he was, man, I can't even say he's a good person because I don't fucking know. You got so much drain the swamp. You got so much weird shit with politics that you just don't know who's a good person. So the relationship that I've had with him from afar, I could see him being someone you bump into at Home Depot and he's just like, yeah, you're going to redo the deck this weekend. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? She's not going to do it. She ain't going to cook me dinner either. All right, have a good weekend, Jim. That's who Joe Biden reminds me of. But the man's suffering from dementia. It's clear to see he's going through it. And if you want to say that he's not suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, okay, there's an argument for that. But here's what is 100% happening in front of us. His brain is deteriorating with life. Disregarding that is like disregarding that our bodies don't deteriorate as we get older. And it gets back to the bigger point. Why the fuck are like 70 and 80-year-olds running the goddamn country? Okay? Can we get some youth in there? Okay, I get they have some experience. They got some wisdom, some of them. That's the thing is I think wisdom comes with age as a side effect of experience. I don't know if if you're a lifelong politician, if you have that much life experience. You've been kind of playing the same corrupt game for years and years and years, which is why I think we got to be more open to newer alternatives with this, because what the actual fuck. But this was hilarious. So much so, I thought it was a joke when people started sending me these clips of Joe Biden going on stage and pulling out his phone and being like, yeah, this will get the brown people on my side. If you don't like Despacito, then you're not brown, okay? And now he's using his old formula, okay? He's trying to ring in that brown vote. It was hilarious, though. I think he's harmless. At least, I can't even say that. Because you don't know. You see some creepy Joe sniffing hair kind of shit. He just reminds me of a weird grandpa, okay? But the Despacito thing, he literally looks like he would go to Home Depot and be like, hey, amigo, to a guy sitting outside looking for work. Just to like, I speak a little bit of that Spanglish, you know? Hey, amigo, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo está tu familia? Tengas buen día, eh? Just start saying anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, huh? El sol es caliente hoy, eh? Muy bien. Vaya con Dios, eh? He probably wouldn't even know. That's starting to get a little too Spanish for him. Yeah, he looks like he tries to speak Spanish to waiters at Mexican restaurants too. Hola, vamos a tener un poco de tacos de el carbón, okay? 2 tacos de carne asada y 2 pollo. Gracias. Man, I wonder if there's been anybody that there's ever been anybody. Sorry, I had a stroke already. If anybody has ever ordered food, and they thought gracias was gracias. Gracias. Like the way it looks spelled. Like, why the fuck do we have that? Like, why can't we just throw an S in there? Gracias. That would make so much more sense than gracias. I'm gonna start saying that. Gracias. Hola. 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 This is the way my brain works. When stuff like this happens with Joe Biden, I try to think through the process that got them there. Like, no one he didn't plan that on his own, right? He doesn't think, hey, let me put this song on that I've never heard before. There's no way Joe Biden has heard of Despacito. Because the way he played it, he was just like, oh, listen, that song is so good, tonally, as a standalone sound, that it's pleasing to the ears, even if you don't know what they're saying. Which you can see in his reaction that he was like, oh, this is a good song. This shit's a banger. That's what he was thinking, because he goes, all right. Like, oh, this ain't that bad. These laborers can make music. I guess tacos and labor isn't the only thing. And I can say this shit. I still have paint on my hands from working yesterday, okay? Pull out my immigrant card. Bars. I also found out that my 23andMe, my dad's, we legit had Taino Indian blood from Puerto Rico. They tried to say that the Taino Indians, there was no more, that they were wiped out. The Spaniards, they're gone. Fairy dust. They just don't exist anymore. But we do. We do. My dad's something like 20% Taino Indian. Bars. Indian bars. Native Puertorriqueña bars. Or Puertorriqueño, whichever I identify as today. But it's just such a, like, that's when I go back and I try to trace, where did this happen? Like, who was the intern? Or maybe an intern, like her phone, like went off and her ringtone was Despacito. And Joe Biden was like, you know what? That's not that bad. You know, I'm going to go out there and get confused, but I'm going to play this song first, okay? Maybe that's what he wanted. He wanted to like establish some rhythm attributed with him before he started going off the rails, started saying some weird shit. But I just would love to see what that was. And you know what? It almost is a tactic out of Trump's book of like, let's just make a news headline. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, that was cool. He listened to Despacito. I like him more. Maybe it worked. Maybe it'll work for him. But it definitely is a good headline of all press is good press. I think that's what Trump believes, because he always says about how he dominated the news cycle. I'm like, bro, half the shit is they don't like you. And he's like, well, I still dominated. I'm a winner. And that's why we're beating China. So funny. Yeah, that's some crazy shit. I also saw, let's see, what did I have here? Joe Rogan and Tim Kennedy. If you haven't listened to this episode, I said in the last one, this should be required reading for everyone to go listen to Joe Rogan and Tim Kennedy discuss the current state of our country and what is happening, breaking down insurgents and destabilizing a country and the importance of focusing on keeping that stability. But another discussion that happened was about Joe Rogan holding a debate with Trump and Biden in a podcast for like 3 or 4 hours, have them discuss different topics, and Joe Rogan would moderate it. And basically it would be a podcast where they can talk and everything. It was just an idea, and obviously I'd be fucking for it, but it was just in passing. And then Tim Kennedy, Joe Rogan said he would be down for it, and Tim Kennedy tweeted it out that he would love to see it and tagged both Joe Biden and Donald Trump in it. And Donald Trump, and then he said, who would want to see this? Who would want to see Joe Biden and Donald Trump on the Joe Rogan Experience? And motherfucking Donald Trump tweeted back, I do. And you know what? I fucking believe him, okay? I've been hearing that he's not preparing for the debates at all, which is... either he's got the debate so hard in the bag and he's just relying on that, or it's a tell as old as time. the fighter gets cocky, not preparing. He gets too comfortable as the champ. And then you got someone like Joe Biden who's going to be fucking juiced to the gills with PEDs to get through those debates. But I would love to see it. I would love to see, more importantly than just seeing talking points, especially when they're reading on teleprompters, I just want to see people have a conversation. That's like part of the thing when you're trying to get to know somebody, is you're not necessarily wanting to know all the details of what they're all about. Think about dating. A lot of it is making jokes and trying to get to know each other and how you handle certain situations. You could tell stories, you could ask them questions about what they want to do, but you're not looking to check off a list like, okay, oh, you're going to do this. And okay, cool. That matches off with the checklist. Well, you look great for the job. No, you're like, you want to see what they're all about. You got to know someone's personality, and especially if something like the fucking leader of the free world. And yes, I still believe we are the leader. We are the free fucking world. We're a dying breed, America, and you better be goddamn proud of that, okay? Land of the free, home of the brave, bars, patriotic bars. Where the fuck was I? A goddamn bald eagle came out in that bar, and I forgot everything. I want to see their personality. I want to see, more importantly, that's why it's good to date people. And there's that meme where it's like, if you really want to get to know someone, live with them with slow internet. Then you're going to see who they truly are. You want to see someone in long free form conversation and in passing, have dinner with them and everything, just to see how they would respond to certain situations. You want to see, are you able to chill? Let me just see you talk. Let me talk to you. Let's hang out. And that's what I want to see about the presidents. Okay. I don't need a president to be super, political, a profound speaker that doesn't speak like a normal person. Now, I thought, Barack Obama, whether he had good, I agreed with all of his politics. That's neither here nor there, but I don't agree with everything. Agreed with some stuff, didn't agree with a lot. But one thing I did like about Obama was his stoicism, that he was very presidential, that when things would go bad, he was able to calm down the United States and maintain a level of calmness that would come through. And it would, like, you want a leader to be like that. But it was almost like maybe he's really like that in person, but it doesn't seem natural. And I think he would tone it down. He was self-aware enough to tone it down in one-on-one situations. But I don't need a president to speak like a president and need to be everything like this. Like, do I agree with everything Donald Trump does? No. Is there some stuff I agree on? Yeah. But it's like, I don't care about the fluff. I don't care about how you come across as... I don't care about the fluff as much. That's what I'm trying to say. I would rather you be doing a good job and be more brash than you be doing a bad god. Dude, so many strokes this morning. Than you be doing a bad job. And in the public seem like the greatest person ever. And just be, that's what's so creepy about all these politicians. And when you hear about, it's unrelated, but you hear about priests molesting little boys and shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You're supposed to be the ones talking to God. You're right up there. And you're down here diddling little daddies. In this metaphor, daddies, I don't know why I went with daddies, but quite the opposite. But that's just a metaphor for some poor little altar boy. Like, it's something I'd rather have someone be brash in who they are than fucking lie to me and pretend to be a certain way. Because when you find out who they truly are, that shit is like, it always grossed me out when I had friends that would pretend to be a certain way and then something would happen where I'd see like their true colors. I'm like, you gross fuck. You're over here pretending that you're this like close to God person. And I've been there. Not to God, also, obviously. He definitely wouldn't let me in the club. But, yeah, I just would love to see a debate with more of a conversation. It doesn't even have to be a debate. I don't I'm tired of everything being so volatile with politics. There's some very gross stuff going on. I saw, dude, you see people so charged up politically, and I know the pandemic has a lot to do with it, but people are so charged up politically. And I think one of the things is it's definitely because of the pandemic, but there's real things going on that I think destabilize our country to where we forget like the Constitution, and like we need to try hard to maintain that. I start seeing that in San Francisco, they wanted to have the voting age dropped to 16. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? 16-year-olds voting on the country. Huh? What? No fucking way. I'm 32. I barely think I should vote. Okay? I barely think. I think the voting age should be moved to like 27, maybe 30, because you have life experience, some kind of life experience to the point where you're like, yeah, I can make an informed decision. But I feel like 18, you're not even really an adult. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, and obviously the age should be, it's easiest for it to be 18, because if you're old enough to go to war, like that's a bigger can of worms. Of if you're old enough to go to war, you should be able to vote for what you're going to war for, which is crazy. But 16, and I think it's like some insidious thing, because it was in San Francisco they're trying to do it. And San Francisco was like one of the weirdest social experiments of what the far radical left can do with ideas and being so fucking open-minded. Like, people walk around San Francisco. I don't know if you've ever seen street people of San Francisco, but they just shit in the sidewalk. They have like community gardens where they just find needles and all of this stuff everywhere, and they don't do anything. They have so many like weird laws to protect certain people that can just shit on the sidewalk, use needles, just so much weirdness to where I'm like, this place has gone way too fucking wacky, real wacky. But I think when you're trying to get 16-year-olds to vote, you're trying to get them to vote on ideology, because that's what they're going to support, is because they're not going to have any real world experience to make an informed decision. Can you imagine a 16-year-old making decisions about what your grandparents should, their retirement should be, what kind of healthcare they should be, making all these decisions that have zero effect on their life, and they don't even understand what they're doing. Their brain isn't even, they don't understand it. It's the same thing with student loans. I think that student loans are like one of the most insidious things ever. It can be good, but for a lot of people, it's very bad. And we like commercialized and made it into a business, student loans. And to the point where it's like, isn't the feedback, like I struggle with if college should be free, but I do see a benefit long term. Like, I don't think people should be able to go to all the classes over and over again. Like, you should be able to go through it and have a run through cycle to get a degree and everything. But if you want to continue and do other degrees, then you should have to pay for it. Okay. Because if you've already got one degree, okay, well, we need to get, clear up the classes for other people that need to go in and get their first degree. And if you want to be part of these classes, you're going to have to pay. Because I feel like that's an investment in our own culture, our own society, to educate people. That's like the number one thing. And I think when you're young, to be making a decision that you might be at 18, fresh out of high school, that you might be making a decision that in 4 years, when you're 22, you go to a 4-year college, there's some cases where you might walk away with $150,000 in student loans, in debt. You're walking into the workforce I knew a girl who was a social worker. She got her degree in social working. She left USC, I believe it was, with something like $220,000 of student loans, and she was becoming a social worker. She was going to be paying off student loans and never be able to escape it till she takes her last breath and passes it on to her granddaughter. $220,000 or $250,000, whatever. There's some crazy cases. You're talking about like $2,000 a month, easy, in student loan payment. Easy. That's a mortgage and a car loan right there. How are you ever supposed to escape that on a humble salary? You're going to have to get an OnlyFans account. That's all it is. But it's crazy. So that's what I'm saying is when you're young, making these decisions. If I could go back in time, and I did it half right, where I've always told people this, go to a JC the first 2 years, okay? Get your generals done at a JC. You're going to save so much fucking money. And then if you don't know what you want to do, explore some areas. You come out of a JC at 20 years old, explore other areas. Go do this for 6 months. You don't have to jump straight into college. I get that there's pressure from parents and everything to do this, but if you don't really know what you want to do, don't go, I'm engineering, and then you just go do that, and then you're like, oh shit, I don't even want to do that. I'm a great example of that. I went to a JC, and I almost went into electrical engineering just because I got accepted to the college for swimming at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. But then aside from that, and I'll never trade the experience, it was well worth it, I went to nursing school. I ain't no fucking nurse. I'm glad I know how to do it. I know about healthcare. I can pop a needle in someone's arm, if I have to, give them a little IV, juice them up, even drain their blood if I need to. Your boy ever turns Dracula? Take your blood. I'll take your blood. But I still have student loans for something I'm not making any money with. And mine aren't even terrible. I'm not in the same boat as a lot of people. But I wouldn't really trade my experience that I had. But I know there's plenty of people that they just go straight into a college degree because of social pressure. Their friends are going off and doing that. Listen, comparison is the thief of joy. Don't look at what other people are doing. You got to find out what makes you feel good and gives you fulfillment. And go do that, I don't think there's anything wrong with going to a JC, getting your generals done, and then you not knowing exactly what you're supposed to do or what you enjoy. Take some time to just try things, okay? And then, jump into a college if you need it. If you need it, jump into it then for that particular job. Because guess what? The internet's changing the world. You don't need a degree for a lot of stuff to be a business owner. It's good to go get that training, but it's like, fuck, the resources available on YouTube. I'm self-taught with literally everything I've ever done creatively. I could out music producers in studios. I've been to studios where I was like, you know what? I need to fucking have someone produce me, because obviously if they have a fancy studio, they know more than me and can do it for me. And then I would be like saying little things. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker doesn't even know how to do that. He doesn't know how to make sense. And I'm just like, this is wild. But the same thing with video production and everything is like, I learned it just from trying. That's all it was. I just took action. I didn't know how to do something, so I'd Google that particular thing. But you just have to start, whether that's anything. Obviously me, I'm using an example of like creating stuff from scratch with like music. I remember just being like, all right, what's the first step? Well, I need a microphone. Okay, let me research microphones. All right, let me look at budget ones. Find a budget one. Okay, now I need software. Okay, let me look up software. Okay, I got software. Okay, now how do I use it? Okay, let me look up this tutorial. And so on and so on. And then you try to figure out little things. How do I put reverb on? How do I put a compressor on? What's EQ? And then you just learn these skills of what you actually need from actually just doing it. That's like the biggest thing I'll tell people. People ask about comedy, they would be like, oh, I want to try it. Do it. That's all you got to do. Just do it. I really want to prepare like this, like get a good solid 5 minutes. Just get 5 minutes and do it. Okay, you don't need to get a perfect 5 minute. I get you want to do good. Just go do it. You're going to do terrible. Same thing with doing jiu-jitsu, everything. Just go to your first class. You're going to be terrible, okay? Just get it over with, all right? You're going to get drowned. And I think that's the same thing with anything. I actually read a good thing in Jordan Peterson's book that I'm on the second to last chapter right now. But I think it's the 12 rules to life and chaos or something. But I think rule number 10 is like to slay the dragon. And it's like handle things before they become big problems. Don't put things off until they're so big and you never dealt with it that now it's a dragon. It's not a lizard anymore. Someone says something weird to you, handle it right there. It may kind of sound with you weird, just handle it there. Something bugged you, say it the first time it bugged you. You want to do something, just do it, because the longer you wait, the more anticipation, the anxiety and everything, it's going to grow into this bigger thing that it's going to be so hard to defeat it. Because you're going to put so much into it that it's just going to be harder to start. It's funny. It's not really funny, but I did this acting class in college, and we had to go up and just talk in front of the class for I think it was 3 minutes. And this dude goes up there, and he's in his 50s, I would say. And he sits there because there's just a chair. It was one of those weird acting class things they make you do, one of those exercises. And he just goes, and starts crying. And he's like, I always wanted to be an actor ever since I was a little kid, but I just got scared. I never did it. And I've waited 45 years, some weird thing. He's like, I work and I make the millions of dollars. And I was just like, wow, that's a weird flex to say mid-crying. Just say you're successful. And it was just such an overwhelming moment for him to actually be in an acting class that he's wanted to do since he was a little kid. And the thing is while actors are very dramatic naturally, there was so much pent-up emotion of him waiting that fucking long. And there was guilt and shame that he waited that long to do it. And the weird flex of him making millions. I'm like, hey, what are you doing in a JC then? All right, then we're at a JC taking an acting class. Maybe go to Juilliard. You can probably pay your way in. All right, get out of here. Bars. But it was just, I think that's what happens. I think that's the danger, and that's the cautionary tale of life is don't fucking wait to do the things you want to do till later. Don't keep pushing it off to tomorrow, to next week, next month, next year, because the great, what is his name, Smash Mouth used to say, well, the years stop coming and they don't stop coming. Smash Mouth bars. It's true. Things will just add up, and then you'll wake up and you'll be 50, a millionaire apparently, but breaking down in a JC acting class because you waited that long. You let that little lizard turn into a dragon, and you just never defeated it until you're a millionaire in your 50s, crying at a JC. And I'm not making fun of him for crying. I respect people admitting themselves emotionally. What else? Ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, your boy's getting a soundboard. I wasn't even going to talk about this. I'm going to stop saying that because I get so annoyed to myself when I'm like, I wasn't even planning on talking about this. I don't really have a lot I am planning on talking about. But I'm getting a soundboard, okay? I'm going to get some little shits for when I cough and shit. I can hold down so the mic doesn't go on. I'm not going to be like, all disgusting in the mic. When I drink water, because that's disgusting. But also, I'm going to be able just to fucking be hitting little drops, little pre-recorded me saying bars, sound effects, clapping, applause, music, whatever the fuck I want. And then I'm going to be able to put little cool things on the video while I'm looking at it. Screen shares. We're evolving, baby. We're evolving. No fucking Charmander up in here. We're going to Charmeleon. And then one day, Charizard. I'm going to be the Charizard of this podcasting game. All right? I started sounding like Mark Wahlberg. What? I think this is Transformer. What do you mean? Bars. Charizard bars. Yeah, but getting back on point, I would like to see Joe Rogan talk to Joe Biden and Donald Trump in a debate on a podcast, just shooting the shit. I just want to see them talk. I want to see them be human, okay? I saw an interview with Donald Trump on Barstool, and I'm like, you forget that people are normal people, and it humanizes them. And I think that's a scary thing that's been happening lately, is that we've done it with celebrities, where you just write the most disgusting thing online, comment sections, whatever. You stop treating them like they're human. They're above that. They're celebrities. Blah, blah, blah. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You never say it to a person in a grocery store. But we have a real issue with dehumanizing people. And you're seeing it a lot with cops right now. People are dehumanizing cops. And that's a very scary thing. I saw, I talked about it briefly on the podcast last week or Monday. And about people cheering that the cops they got shot. And they were like, yeah, fuck you, pig. All this stuff. I watched the videos. This isn't doctored. This isn't some weird clickbait article that someone was lying. I saw the actual videos. I saw them outside the emergency room saying, I hope you die. And then when they were locking cops in the precinct, and while they lit it on fire, they were saying, fry, pigs fry. What the actual fuck? This is dehumanizing a group of people that are regular people that have kids, just trying to make a living, and a lot of them are trying to do good. It's pretty insane. It's embarrassing to see this kind of thing from people. I think this is a whole thing of just humans being disgusting. And I don't know. I didn't mean to go down a real tangent right there. I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but it was embarrassing. And it's just like, this is disgusting. And I think, like I said last time, the chickens are going to come home to roost, and it's not going to be good. I saw an article earlier that it said we should be able to return back to normal around 2021, third quarter. Huh? What? That's kind of crazy to see. That we could be not in lockdown, but with mask protocols and everything till 2021 or the third quarter. And they're saying vaccines could get us there. That's scary. It's weird. We don't know how safe they are. We don't know what it's really going to look like, what it's going to be like. I'm not looking forward to them start doing vaccines on people that quick. I mean, granted, they're waiting until 2021, I hope. But I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if I would get a vaccine just based off percentages. I feel like most people aren't going to get a vaccine. And if that's the case, would it be vaccine for older people so that when the younger people get it, it's not as much of a risk? That's what I'm thinking. Because to be honest, I haven't really been worried about myself. It's mainly parents, grandparents, people with pre-existing conditions, obese people. Listen, this has been such a big thing of personal responsibility. When you start seeing a lot of these, when they say pre-existing conditions, it's a very nice way of saying people who haven't been responsible with themselves. Now, granted, there are people with pre-existing conditions, but they're putting obesity under pre-existing conditions, diabetes, pre-existing conditions. What was the other one? I forget what the other one was. But stuff like obesity. Yeah, no shit. I saw an article that dropped. It was like, breaking news. Obesity ranked linked to COVID death. Yeah, no shit. Oh, you're telling me being morbidly obese isn't healthy? Oh, cool. But let's have another magazine putting obese person and on the cover as, a hero. I always think that's so weird. Listen, I am all for body acceptance. No one needs to look like a movie star or some Instagram model. I don't give a shit. I don't care when people don't want to fall under the guise of standards that it's hypocritical to say that men hold women to, because women do it for themselves. They do it to themselves, okay? And you can try to point the blame on men or, something of like, well, men have all these blah, blah, blah. A lot of women have it too. And a lot of women are putting it on each other and putting it on themselves. Guys do it to themselves too. I think it's just the weird competitive shit by nature in us. Because no girl should be getting lip Botox. Like, what the fuck? The lips are so fucking weird. All of it's weird. I'm all into body acceptance and doing whatever you want. But I'm also, and I'm not into body shaming, okay? I'm into shaming my own friends. You best believe I shame my own friends. I say, hey man, what's that? But when you start putting like obese people on covers and being like the new beautiful, that is a very unhealthy person, susceptible to so many diseases, and isn't a healthy lifestyle. And I only say this because I care about people. People should strive to at least be healthy. And it's like it comes down to accountability and like responsibility. And I know I may look like a douchebag saying this, and it's not meant to be that at all. I've been a personal trainer for years. I was a swim coach. I've always been in nutrition. My senior project in high school was a healthy cookbook, okay? And I wrote a letter to the school to try to get healthier snacks put in the vending machines and getting rid of soda. Yeah, I was that kid in high school. And it's just because I care about people. I want people to be healthy. I think if we had a healthier, educated society, we would be better off as people. And I know how good it feels to be healthy and in shape, and I know how bad it feels to be out of shape and not have energy because you're not eating the right foods or you're drinking too much. And I think it's like one of the weird byproducts of virtue signaling. A lot of times all these magazines and everything, when they talk about like Caitlyn Jenner as being Woman of the Year when she hasn't been a woman for a year, bars, someone else's joke, I read that somewhere. I'm like, this isn't because you're trying to support this. You're doing a virtue signaling attention grab based on this. And I think it's the same thing with when people start like putting women on covers that are like obese, and I'm like, this isn't healthy. I don't know what the right answer is. I kind of wish I didn't even start talking about this. I got myself in a rabbit hole. I got stuck in this rabbit hole, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I think it just irked me. It bugs me because when I see people not taking accountability, when I see people wanting a pill rather than doing the work to get in shape or at least have accountability, like I think it's been a huge fumble of our culture where we aren't promoting working out and getting sunshine and vitamin D and eating the right foods and all this stuff as a cure for COVID. Like, yeah, a vaccine, whatever, we can get back to normal with the vaccine in 2021. Why don't we fix the issue of us not being healthy enough to handle these, okay? If it's not going to be coronavirus and we don't change the way we do factory farming and the conditions of other countries and wet markets, it's going to be something else. There's going to be a COVID-20. You don't think that? There's going to be a COVID-21. And then what do? We lock down? No, we can't. We literally, it's the United States creating a safe space. And it's like, we can't operate like this. We need to figure out a way to not be so susceptible to foreign invaders. And I mean like COVID-19 or something like that. Because if we were all healthier and we had accountability of not relying on a pill or someone to take care of us, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. I don't know if we could shut down again next year. Like, if we have a couple of these hit us in a row, it's going to be very bad. It's going to be very bad. And that's why I go down this rabbit hole, because I think there has to be more focus on people being in shape. And you don't have to be in shape. You just have to be moderately healthy. Okay, you don't need to be some bodybuilder or like work out all the time. But cut out junk food. Go for walks. Your boy walks every minute. I got a dog. I gotta walk that shit. But yeah, I don't mean to go off on that. But you know, Despacito. At the end of the day, Despacito. And just know, no matter what, even if you're thick, yeah, I love you.